Alright, so after we did Disney, like I said, there was a day in between where we kind of just did nothing. And then, we were kind of debating whether or not we would end up going to Universal in general. Like, my girlfriend and I, we were talking about is like, her big thing, because she used to work at Disney. So that's why she was like super excited to take me there, because she knew all the rides and the stuff like that. And Universal, she'd never been to, like, at all. So I'd been there, which I hadn't been there since I was like probably 6 years old or 7 or something like that. So it didn't really. Last time I was there, they still had the Back to the Future ride. So that was a while back, and which is crazy. They took out the Back to the Future ride, but they still have ET there, which I thought was crazy. But anyway, we go there. We get there like I think we got there at maybe noon or something like that, because my family, they were taking forever, and I was getting so mad. I was like, because my girlfriend, like, we kind of split up the cost and stuff, and she was paying for the Universal things, and it was making me mad. I was like, she paid this money, and I was like, they're taking forever. But we finally got there, and fortunately everything worked out, because I actually planned ahead, because the Disney World thing, I did like a little bit of planning, and that's how I even found out about the Fast Pass stuff, because nobody knew any of that. It was just, we got these tickets, and then we were just gonna go. But you gotta plan. If you're gonna go to Disney World, you have to plan and know what's there, because you will miss out on a bunch of stuff, especially with, I think, 6 theme parks, 4 or 5 of which that you can actually go to, excluding the water parks. You got to know what you want to see, because there are a billion different shows, a billion different rides, all that stuff. And it's kind of the same with Universal. You just have to know what you want to see. And it's much simpler with Universal. It's not like 5 parks, it's just 2. You have Universal, or there's technically 3 parks. You have the Universal Studios, you have the Island of Adventure, and then you have Wet and Wild. So we get there, it's raining like crazy. Like, Wet and Wild was getting shut down as we were driving past. I was like, oh, that sucks for them. Like, all I saw were people just walking down the stairs. I was like, oh, that really sucks. And it was raining like crazy when we first got there, which wasn't that big of a deal. And we get there, and I loved Universal. Like, I had a great time there, because, we planned ahead. There was nothing that was really messed up or anything. So it was like, we had the map. It was me and my girlfriend and the oldest of my cousins, because he's the quietest and he also the tallest, so it was guaranteed he could get on everything. There's like one ride where he may not have been able to get on, but he was actually tall enough, so he was with us the whole time, and everybody else was doing other stuff. Like, I didn't care. I was like, look, we came here, it's already like noon, and I was like, we need to just go. So we took him and we just went, and it started off really simple. We did Terminator 2 3D, which was great, because I love Terminator. It's one of my favorite movies. T2 is just one of my favorite movies, period. And so getting to see that was really cool. And it's not the same. It's not the movie in 3D. It's basically like Terminator 2.5. That's pretty much what it is. So I always wanted to see that, because it's on some DVD. If you watch Terminator 2, they talk about the ride, and I was like, man, I would love to see that and remember it, at least, because I may have seen it when I was younger. But I got to see that, and that was actually still pretty good. Like, it's surprisingly good how the 3D was, and I enjoyed that. I had a great time with that, and it got more interactive than I was expecting, because it's kind of like, it's video. They have like 3 giant 3D screens, and then they have it where they have the actors playing Sarah, the Terminator, and John. And that was pretty cool. Like, they're running around and stuff like that, and they run through like the aisles and things like that. And they have it where like the seats move sometimes and stuff, and I thought that was really cool. Like, the only thing that was weird is like, the 3D on the actual, it was like, for some reason on faces, the 3D was weird. It would still be CG faces, but whenever it was just a face, it would come up a little blurry. But they had this part at the end where it's called like the T1 million or something, and it's like a liquid Terminator. It's like the T1000 from 2, and so it's like a giant liquid Terminator. That was great. Like, it was like, stretching like all the way out and stuff. Like, that looked phenomenal. I loved how they did that, and they had it where it freezes in place and stuff, and it explodes, and water gets on it. Universal loves to spray water on you. I think half the rides was like some form of it was just like water, because it's water. So they love to just here's some water on you for interactivity or whatever. But started off with Terminator 2. That was really good. We went to Springfield, which I love Springfield. Like, I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons. So when we went there, I was like, this is amazing. And we got to, like, I took a ton of pictures there, so I just have all those coming up. But I got to see pictures, or I got to take pictures of Duffman. There was Chief Wiggum where he crashed the car was really cool. I didn't take pictures of Moe's bar and the Quickie Mart. I didn't take a picture of either, but it was just the front. We didn't even get to go inside. But Moe's, I believe, was just a restaurant. The Quickie Mart, I think, was actually like a little shop that you could go to. Bumblebee Man's Tacos, which we actually ended up eating at, was pretty good. They had Larlad's Donuts. I wanted to get a donut. Like, the donuts were actually giant donuts. They were kind of like the one, you'd buy one donut, but you'd actually share it between like 2 or 3 people. And I wanted to get one, but we just didn't end up doing that. We didn't come back in time. But that was really cool, and that was the first ride we got on, so that was really awesome. And it was like the 3D experience, and you get in this thing, and I was like, okay, so it's gonna be like, I knew it was gonna be sort of a simulator ride. And this, by the way, because I've known this for a long time, but the Simpsons ride, I was like, I have to get on the Simpsons ride, not only because I love the Simpsons, but the Simpsons ride is actually what replaced the Back to the Future ride. That's where the Back to the Future ride used to be, and they pay homage to that. When you're in line, they have a bunch of clips that play. Some are from episodes, and some are made for the ride. And one of them is Professor Frink, where he uses the DeLorean and he goes back in time to stop Doc Brown from... It's like he was trying to stop him from screwing up and selling the business to Krusty the Clown. And it's actually Christopher Lloyd voicing Doc Brown. So that was actually really cool. And I was happy to see that. I thought it was on the ride, but it was actually like... they just have videos up, so they play like old clips. They played Itchy and Scratchy, random stuff from the show, and I loved that. I was laughing, like I was watching a bunch of stuff that I liked, and they played like the Canyonero theme, which I always love to hear because it's really silly. It's like this, it's just a stupid giant truck. If you look up the Simpsons Canyonero, it's like the Hummer times 1,000, and it's like it gets like the commercial ends where it's like it's not safe to drive, period, and there are random explosions and stuff like that. So I loved hearing that. It was really funny. The ride itself was really cool, and it's like a great, sort of like a 3D experience where you're in like a dome. Like you're in the ride, and then it goes up. They have like a screen, and it's like it's going up an elevator shaft. And it was really cool. Like you get into the second section, and it's just this giant dome all around you, and it's this whole 3D experience. It's not like 3D like where you have to use glasses, but it was really cool. Like it looked really cool, and you're like going down, and they have like all sorts. It's just all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Like, so that was really fun. And then after that, we did the Men in Black Alien Attack, which was pretty cool. And one thing that they have at Universal, which I think every theme park ever should have, is single riding lines. And it's basically like, instead of riding with your party, it's like, all right, we'll split you up. And, if there's a party of 3, but there's only, 1 seat left, it's like, all right, you guys wait, and they'll take a single rider. And when, there are parties going, it's always, like, a lot of times they'll end up being odd numbers and stuff. And it was great. We did that on the Men in Black thing. We were in and out of there in, like, I don't know, it had to be like 15 minutes. And I was glad we did that because we got on the ride and it was fun. It was like, yeah, that wouldn't have been worth the, like, 50-minute wait time if we did the normal ride. So we did single ride on that, and it was great. And then we went to Diagon Alley, which was super awesome. Like, when we did that, so we take pictures and stuff. We saw, like, the triple-decker bus. I was like, all right, this is cool, and saw some stuff. I was like, all right, let's go behind this little thing, because it's basically just buildings, and then there's, like, these 2 little entrances that you can go into. And the whole time we were there, it was like, man, it's really empty here. Like, Universal, like, it was Sunday, but it was like, man, the streets are really wide and stuff, so there's a lot of space for people to walk around compared to, Disney World, especially the Magic Kingdom. It was really tight-knit, so everybody seemed like they were all just crammed together. And it may have been kind of a combination of the 2 things, where it's like, we were in, Universal Studios and not, like, Magic Kingdom, because the Hollywood portion of Disney World, it was kind of the same thing. It was fairly wide open and stuff. And it may have been partly that it was Sunday, but we did that, and it was like, it's not super crazy crowded. We went to Diagon Alley, and as soon as we went in there, I was like, this is the Disney World section, because it was crammed full of people, and it was still amazing. But we went in there, and I loved the crap out of that, because it was just stuff all over. It was just going into the movie. Like, it was seriously into the movie, and it was amazing just seeing all the stores, and everything was from the movies. You could buy Quidditch stuff. They had they had everything from Quidditch. You know, it was like they had soft versions, they had multiple versions of the Golden Snitch. They didn't have an actual gold version because I may have bought that because I always wanted like an actual Golden Snitch. But they had all sorts of stuff. We got butterbeer because my girlfriend was like, you know, Hogsmeade in the series is where they sell butterbeer, but Hogsmeade is in Islands of Adventure, and we didn't buy the 2-ticket thing because that junk was like a ton of money. It would have been a ton of money to get tickets for both parks. So, unfortunately, we only got to do Diagon Alley and not Hogsmeade as well. But fortunately, they had the butterbeer in Diagon Alley because that was like the big thing that she really wanted. She was kind of worried that she wouldn't get it. And we asked somebody, and it was like, oh yeah, just go over there and you can get butterbeer. So she was able to get that. I tried, I thought it was pretty good too. My little cousin, he got one and he liked it. We got to see a little show as we were there, which was cool. We did the Escape from Gringotts. Gringotts. I always say it really fast, like Gringotts. But we did that Escape from Gringotts ride, and that was really cool. We did the single ride again, which was just like, boom, we got on and we got off, and it was super cool. And that was 3D and interactive, where once again, they sprayed water on you at one point. But that was really cool, and we walked around for quite a while in Diagon Alley. We did Nocturne Alley as well, which was pretty cool. And it's super dark when you do that, and it's like, Diagon Alley is just wide open and stuff, and it rained during one point, and so everybody cleared out. I'm like, I kind of want to walk around now, because everybody like cleared out into like canopies and stuff, and I was like, I kind of just want to walk around now. But then it lasted for like 2 seconds, and then it dried up, and everyone, you know, filed back in. But you know, we got to see Hagrid's motorcycle and stuff, which I wanted to. I asked my girlfriend if she wanted a picture on it, and then it rained, so it was like, oh well, yeah, it got wet after that, and it was like, oh well, we might do it if we come back, but we didn't end up doing that. But it was cool. Nocturne Alley was really cool, and then there were people going around. There were some people, of course, dressed up, and then there were some people who just got wands, and they had 2 types of wands, all of which were insanely expensive, because my little cousin wanted one, and we went back to Diagon Alley, because that was like the one thing he wanted to get from Universal. I was like, alright, well, let's head back after our final ride. And we went in the store, and it looked great, because it was just like the movie. It's just like, you just pull boxes out, and it has like everyone's names. It was like Harry, Hermione, Ron. You get Death Eaters. Just everyone's wand was in that store, and it was just like thousands of boxes all over the place, and it was really cool. And we were in line, and then I saw someone getting one, and it was like $42 for one wand. And this is like the normal wand. And then they had other ones. I don't even know how expensive the other ones were. But they had electronic wands where you'd get the map for the Mischief map. I forgot the actual name of it. But you'd get the map, and you get like an electronic wand. And they had stuff within Diagon Alley that people could, you could wave your wand, and it would activate a bunch of stuff. And people were setting off like water fountains, and it would shoot water like over your head and stuff like that. I almost got hit with that one time because it landed in front of me. I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, I guess they used the wand. And they had this thing in Nocturne Alley where you could activate it, and it would, it was like a simulation thing where it would mimic your moves, and it would bring up like a skeleton, and you could like move around and stuff, and it would follow your movements. And they had all sorts of other stuff. You could change colors of things and set off videos, all sorts of stuff. And I can only imagine if the normal ones, which my girlfriend said they felt like, she thought they were plastic, but I picked one up because I took it out of the box and it fell. It felt like it was wood to me. It felt like it was at least partly wood. I don't know if they're 100% like solid wood, but I think they were. They better be. I wasn't like inspecting it because I just picked it up really. But for $42, I would assume they're like, you know, they're actually made out of like oak or, you know, this type of wood, or, you know, what they are in the actual series. But they look cool. They definitely look great, and it was like, you know, they didn't look like, you know, normal Toys R Us plastic style, which I told my cousin, like, you can find one that makes noises and stuff, which he'd like a lot more because he isn't like a huge fan of Harry Potter. I think I'm more of a fan of Harry Potter than he is, so it wasn't like, he was disappointed, but it wasn't like the craziest thing where it was like he had to have, you know, the actual version from, you know, Universal Studios. So, you know, we went in there, but it was super expensive. It was like, I wanted to get it for him, and his mom already got him a lightsaber when we went to Disney World because he built his own with his brother. So she wasn't going to get him that. I was like, we already spent a ton of money. We kind of didn't have to go on that trip. So I was like, I wanted to get it for him, but I'm like, I know he's not like the biggest fan, so it wouldn't really correlate to spend so much extra money on it. But unfortunately, he was able to find something as we were leaving out that he liked. And it was just crazy. Diagon Alley was freaking amazing. If you go to Universal, just go there. Whether it's Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade, just go to the Harry Potter section and you'll have a great time because it's phenomenal. Like you're just in the movie and it looks freaking great. We saw the dragon breathe fire too, which was awesome because I knew it did that because I watched the video recently, and I was like, okay, you know, it'll be cool to see the dragon breathe fire. And the first time it did it, it actually scared both my cousin and my girlfriend because it was right after it rained too. So everything kind of cleared out and there weren't a ton of people talking. Everyone was just kind of a bit quieter. And it's like, all right, you know, it rained. And then it was just as it was dying out, the dragon, it basically, because there's no real timer on it or anything. You don't know when it's going to happen because I would have filmed it if I knew. But unfortunately, it's kind of like 2 seconds. And it's like, it sounds like the dragon's about to burp. And then it breathes fire. That's pretty much like automatic. It just happens. So it's totally random. You never really know. But it went off and it scared both of them. And I thought that was the funniest thing. But it looks really cool. You can feel the fire and everything. It was actually really great. So that was cool. We got to actually see the dragon breathe fire. We got to actually get some butterbeer. We saw a cool story set up, you know, really fast. It just started as we were walking past. And it was like, well, let's check this out. So that was pretty cool. And, you know, we were in there for probably 45 minutes to an hour, including, you know, waiting in line, which was really only like maybe 20 minutes. So we probably spent the other 25 minutes. It probably was more than, I think we spent more time just walking around than we did even, you know, in line waiting for the ride. But it was really good. So I loved doing that. Tons of stuff to buy. They had this really cool little throw pillow, which I kind of wish I bought now a little bit. But they had this cool 9 3/4 throw pillow, and it just looked really cool. It's just a nice. It was like just a little simple like rectangular pillows, but it looked cool. But that was really awesome just to see because it was like, man, this just looks phenomenal. So when I go back, I definitely plan on getting tickets to both parks because then you can actually take the Hogwarts Express over to the other park if you want to, and it'll take you straight to Hogsmeade. So I really want to do that. So I'm excited to do that whenever we end up going back. We're going to do both parks for sure. So that was really cool. And then eventually, of course, we had to go get out and see everything else. We went to see the Transformers 3D ride, which was definitely really fun too. And that was really cool. Like that one, that was like spinning and turning, and the way they did it where it would be characters like touching the car and they'd be like slamming on it, so it would be like Megatron slamming on the front of the vehicle. It just felt right. Like everything felt like they did it perfectly. Like it moved perfectly with the visuals and stuff. And I was like, that's kind of what makes it so fun, is like it matches perfectly, and there's a ton of movement because it's Transformers. So you're crashing through stuff and people are like scratching the front of the car. It feels different than when they slam their fist on the front of the car. So it felt really good. So I certainly enjoyed that. That was really awesome. And that was kind of one of the things I loved about Star Tours at Disney World. They had it where even using the Force felt perfect. It's like you're in a ship flying, and it's like Darth Vader using the Force on you at one point to stop the ship. And it's like you can feel that the ship's swaying and moving, but it's also, you know, trapped by Vader using the Force. So both those rides did it perfectly, and that was really cool. Then we did Revenge of the Mummy, which was awesome, and the ride is great. Like, you know, obviously they did it because the movie was really popular at the time, and it's not like Terminator popular, but that ride is one of the best rides there, without a doubt. Like, that's a straight up roller coaster ride, but it has like fire shooting all over the freaking place. Like when you start off, and it's kind of scary too. It scared the crap out of my little cousin, but it was really great. Like they have fire shooting up, and they have like the mummy from the movie. He like sucked somebody's soul out and stuff. The person was already wrapped up, so it didn't look like much, but it was really great. And there's like, they have this point where fire like shoots across the ceiling, and you can feel it. Like it gets warm in there, and it juts forward and it goes backwards and all this other stuff. And it was like a straight up roller coaster ride plus the simulation stuff. So that was probably my favorite blend of both, because it was an actual roller coaster plus they had like the fire and all the theatrics too. So that was great. And then we went on our final ride, which was the Rip Ride Rocket, which is just a flat out roller coaster, and you actually get to choose the music you listen to as you go through the ride. That was our longest wait because it was after the Mummy, and I was like, I don't know if my cousin is okay enough to go on his own anymore, because I thought he might be super scared after we had done the Mummy ride. And even in the picture, which we didn't buy any of the pictures, but we looked at the picture and like you couldn't even see him because he was like buried into my arm because it freaked him out so much. But after we did that, it was like we should probably get on the ride together, like all of us together. So that's why we didn't do single rides. So we had to wait a lot longer for that ride. But that was still pretty fun. And it, you know, that one was like a straight up roller coaster, and it did like this the corkscrews and the spins and all that stuff. So definitely had a great time there. Hit pretty much everything I wanted to see. Got to do a ton of stuff there, and it was really really fun. So even more than Disney World, I'm more excited to go back to Universal just because of how much fun I had there. And like I said, it just may have been the day, but everything seems so incredibly fast compared to a normal day. Like I don't know what it was. Maybe just everybody was in Diagon Alley, and that's why all the rides were empty. I have no idea, but it was Sunday, and apparently people don't go on Sunday, so maybe we'll do something like that. But it was really freaking cool. So the rides were, really fun, and the lines were super short, especially the Mummy ride. We did that during the parade time. We went through, they had basically like 6 different sections for people to wait in line. We went through like 4 of the sections. And then we finally got to the 5th one. It's like, oh, now we're stopping. We walked for like, it may have almost been a solid minute of us just walking to finally get to where the line actually was. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I didn't even take pictures because we went through so fast. We went past everything to basically get to the ride. And it was like, oh, well, I didn't get any pictures because we were just getting to the line. So it was kind of funny. I took like a couple of pictures. But I had a great time there. Really enjoyed that. Like I said, once we got to, basically, apparently I just only love movie stuff, because once we did the Hollywood Studios part of Disney World, that's when it got great. But I did have a good time. Disney World, not as fun to me at least, as Universal was, but had a really good time at both. I got my little droids. Didn't really get anything from Universal. They had some cool stuff, but we also, aside from the money thing, I was like, all right, we got to make sure we don't buy like crazy stuff because for packing. But I do kind of wish, that was like the one thing I kind of wish I bought was the 9 3/4 little pillow. So if I can find that online, I might do it. But I had a great time there. I had a pretty fun vacation overall. I definitely wish my girlfriend wasn't sick so she could have had a better time too. But still good. Definitely know now. Just plan ahead for Disney World. It's so many different parks. I just had no idea. But I had a good time. I know this is an incredibly long video, so hopefully the footage kind of made up for it at least a little bit. But I definitely want to thank you guys for checking this one out. If you've been to Universal or Disney World, we'd love to know your first experiences with both parks, especially if you didn't know you kind of had to plan ahead. Because, like, for me, like, going to Cedar Point, you just look at a ride and it's like, alright, that's where I want to go. Cedar Point is not Disney World. Cedar Point is not Universal. Cedar Point is like, some people go to Cedar Point and it's really fun. Disney World and Universal is like, everybody goes to Disney and Universal. So you gotta be careful with those. But we'd love to know your experiences. And like I said, thank you guys for checking out this super long video on my trip. And of course, if you guys, like I said, if you have any comments, put them down in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.